Hello and welcome to Sin City Jets. Today we're going to be comparing Darrelle Revis and Sauce Gardner. We are going to be looking at their stats in their first 2 years. We're going to analyze them as players, and we're going to project out Sauce Gardner's career. We're going to determine whether I think Sauce will be better, worse, or the same as Darrelle Revis. Let's get started.
Ever seen. This ball was up the field out there, and then concentrate and reel it in.
This is what we said about Breece Hall, really deceptive with his speed, and defensive backs take a bad angle on him and see that.
Let's begin with turnovers. In year one, Sauce Gardner has 2 interceptions. Darrelle Revis has 3 interceptions and 1 forced fumble. In Darrelle Revis' second year, he dramatically improves, has 5 interceptions and another forced fumble. Sauce Gardner has 0 interceptions, but does get a forced fumble. Darrelle Revis accumulated 7 more turnovers in his first 2 years in the NFL. Turnovers are one of the most important stats in the NFL. However, it is not what makes or breaks you as a defensive back. Now let's go more in depth with the passing stats. In year one, Darrelle Revis was targeted 95 times compared to Sauce Gardner's 73. Darrelle Revis was able to deflect the ball 17 times compared to Sauce Gardner's 20. Receptions allowed, Revis had 59 and Sauce Gardner had 33. Break that down to percentage, Darrelle Revis had 62% compared to Sauce Gardner's 45%. When you look at their rookie year, it's hard to pick a favorite. Sauce Gardner only allowed 45% of targets to be caught. Darrelle Revis had 4 turnovers. With it being this close, I think it's a personal preference. In year 2, Darrelle Revis was targeted 11 less times at 84. Sauce Gardner was targeted 51 times compared to 73 the year before. Sauce Gardner deflected the ball 12 times, and Darrelle Revis exceeded that at 16. Receptions allowed, Darrelle Revis allowed 58%, that's 48 receptions allowed. Sauce Gardner allowed 56%, that's 29 receptions allowed. Year 2, you definitely expected a little bit more from Sauce. He had a higher percent of receptions allowed and no interceptions. Darrelle Revis lowered his receptions allowed and got 5 interceptions, projecting upwards in his career. Let's briefly break down Darrelle Revis' prime. In 2009, Darrelle Revis had 41 receptions allowed out of 111 targets. That's 36%. He also accumulated 6 interceptions. In 2010, he allowed 22 receptions out of 57 targets. That's 38%. No interceptions. 2011, he had 35 receptions allowed out of 85 targets. That's 41%. 4 interceptions that year. The percentage in that group of those years is very impressive. Comparing that to Sauce Gardner's first year, Sauce Gardner is slightly above that. You can see that Sauce Gardner can definitely achieve that. With that being said, stylistically, these players are completely different. Sauce Gardner is way too fast for his size. So he is able to go ahead and take everything over the top so he can come back and react to everything on the bottom because he's able to. No DB in the NFL is able to do that, and that's what makes him the best corner in the NFL right now. Coaching is very important for both of these players. Darrelle Revis was drafted when Eric Mangini was the head coach. When Rex Ryan was hired in 2009, that's when Darrelle Revis entered his prime, because Rex Ryan knew how to put Darrelle Revis in the best position. Robert Saleh is that for Sauce Gardner. I think Sauce benefits greatly from having a defensive-minded head coach like Robert Saleh in his corner. I hope Robert Saleh can prove himself and not get fired at the end of the year. What sets Darrelle Revis apart is the fact that he would follow the number 1 receiver on every snap of every game all year long. Sauce is adamantly asking for that in camp this year, so we'll see if he gets that. What also sets Revis apart is the fact that he had 10 turnovers compared to Sauce's 3 in his first 2 years. Darrelle Revis had 6 interceptions in year 3. We'll see if Sauce Gardner can accumulate anything close to that. I hope so. Darrelle Revis was my favorite player as a kid, but I do believe Sauce Gardner can be better than him. If he can create more turnovers, he will prove to the world that he's better than Darrelle Revis, and he's the best corner this league has ever seen. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to watch the video, and go Jets.